It's called hot chocolate. You drink it.
So, you don't know who you are?
Oh, yes.
Ah,
I'm me. I just don't know who me is.
I see.
But you know me. You recognize me.
Well, I know someone who looks like you.
That's probably me then. I think that's one of the main ways you can tell.
But you don't recognize me.
Hey, panelists, welcome back to the show. I'm Mark.
And I'm Steve.
And this is going to be a spoiler-full podcast about Good Omens Season 2, Episode 1, entitled The Arrival. So the synopsis is, Steve?
Crowley and Aziraphale decide to essentially put a cloaking device on the bookshop, which should be in air quotes there, shield Gabriel from heaven's and hell's eyes. Only it backfires in classic Streisand effect fashion. That's when trying to hide something only makes it more apparent. I didn't know that. So that's a fun fact for me, the Streisand effect. Interesting.
Yeah. Barbara.
Okay. Baba. Yeah.
Barbara.
This was a good episode. I enjoyed it. I was a little confused at the beginning because, it wasn't, I don't know if it's totally clear to a lot of people to understand that in the Bible, it's like the devil, Satan, was an angel who fell.
Yes.
And so what we see at the beginning of this episode, when it says before the beginning, we see Crowley as an angel, and we realize that, he's one of those demons that used to be an angel that fell.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what I got right from the top. And I love that aspect. It's like, okay, because he was so hopeful.
Yeah.
I love that aspect of that, of like with my, your and my initial thoughts are pretty much the same thing. Because you see Aziraphale there with him going, oh, hi. Yeah, I created this. Oh, wonderful. Oh, yeah. I created a whole nebula. Look at this stuff. Oh, it's not going to be done after like 6,000 years. What? They're going to drop it. Oh,
I loved how Aziraphale had more information than Crowley. Crowley's like trying to be the big bad, like I did this and I made
the cool
this
dude. Look at what I did.
Yeah, I was part of the team. I was actually in charge, and Aziraphale's like, well, actually, you don't know. All this is just for that little planet that's going to be right there,
Yeah.
And Crowley's like, what? It's just, what do you call it? Wallpaper, I thought that opening. And then we see in the background, Crowley makes that statement about how is asking questions a bad thing or something like that. And Aziraphale says, oh, well, I don't want you to get in trouble. And you can see in the background, you start seeing like shooting stars. And I think those are other angels falling.
Yeah.
And so it's interesting. It was interesting to see that kind of beginning of it, and then for it to go into the episode right away.
Well, it's also the beginning of their friendship. If you think about it, it's their first encounter with one another, how they get to know each other, and they understand each other to some degree, and then they find this mutual bond together.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember, because I know in season 1, and we apologize, listeners, we did not go back, and I didn't go back and watch a recap.
Yeah, we didn't watch it.
Rewatch season 1. But remember, there was something about Aziraphale was the angel who was supposed to be guarding the Garden of Eden with the flaming sword, and that's how humanity got fire, was because they got his sword from him, and Crowley was somehow involved in that. And I can't remember if we were supposed to think that was their first meeting or if they knew each other. I don't remember enough. So I need to go back and either watch a YouTube recap of season 1 or just rewatch season 1 to understand the relationship. But yeah, we get the idea that their relationship started right there at that moment. So
exactly. That's how the season 2 starts off, as the first meeting of these two, and how they bonded, as I like to call it, with their friendship. Even though they're on two opposite ends of the spectrum,
right?
Which is so cool. And they do have mutual respect for each other and care for one another, which to me, I that's why I really do enjoy this show, as well as the books itself too. So keep in mind, everybody, this is a Neil Gaiman story, and you could actually purchase that. And if you go to goldennotebook.indelight.org, Neil Gaiman has some stuff and we'll put this in the notes so that way you can link it and go there. He has some stuff, some books and graphic novels, including Good Omens, and you could get them there, and they're signed from him at book price too, by the way. So
that's great.
But regarding this particular episode in the show, with season 2, like both Steve and I said, we came in just saying, hey, we didn't watch season 1 again. But we're moving in and looking at it with innocent and new eyes. And and my feeling is like, okay, we see this, and we get that introduction of Aziraphale, and we get Crowley. We already know Crowley's a demon, but on top of that, we get Aziraphale, and we know that he's a bookstore owner.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting that the relationship we see there is particularly in the fact that like Heaven, like almost totally disregards Aziraphale. Like at the end, the angel Michael calls him a former angel who owns a bookshop, and you have that Uriel, that other archangel who was the woman who was the costume designer, right? The hero's costume designer, and I think that's the one who voiced that character in the Invincibles.
Yes.
Yeah. Or the Incredibles. Excuse me, the Incredibles, not the
Incredibles. You got it right.
That's a whole different thing. But you know, and we see those archangels there, and they talk about, and like Aziraphale is kind of like not even, he's been like persona non grata, like he's completely disregarded by Heaven, and they're not even, they haven't even paid attention to him until now when he does this thing. But yet Crowley, on the other hand, Crowley is being kind of recruited to be an agent by this. I can't remember her name, the woman who said that she was now, Hell's representative in London, and she's kind of, and he's like, well, aren't they going to not like the way you're getting the job done, or the way, because you're using me? And she's like, well, they don't care how the job gets done. They just care the job gets done.
You're talking about Shax.
That's the one. Yeah. Okay. She's the one who, she's kind of recruiting him. And then later he talks to Beelzebub also, who then is trying to recruit him into helping as well. So you see that Crowley still has kind of a relationship with with Hell, in that he's not completely, I mean, he's still, Beelzebub calls him a traitor and all those kind of things, but even she said, she's like, well, if you come back, if you do this, we can bring you back in full-fledged sort of thing. Correct.
Yeah, and it's always Crowley on that tiptoeing of, do I ruin my friendship with the Aziraphale? Do I have to do this for, Hell?
Yeah.
Or and then on top of that, do I lose my friendship? That cool thing. And then, or doing the right thing too, because he is a demon, but he wants to do the right thing because deep down he's an angel.
Yeah, I was a little unsure of that whole aspect of it, because like you get that phone call where the angel Michael is talking to somebody, and she explains that, well, if anybody is helping him, then, and this is before they know that
Gabriel is sent down.
Well, no, this is, before they know that Aziraphale did the miracle. They still don't know that Gabriel's with him, but she says something about if anybody's helping him. So I wonder if she had something to do with Gabriel being sent down to Earth.
I do feel that same way too. Yeah, I honestly, listeners, we're doing this episodically. So I have not watched the second episode. Neither has Steve.
No,
so
as soon as we're done here, I'm going to be watching it, though.
We'll be moving on. Yeah, I haven't even jumped onto it. I only watched it twice. But the fact is that every time I get so enraptured, not to use that word lightly too, because of the storytelling, but I get enraptured with the storytelling within the particular episode, and I just enjoy it for the fact of these two particular characters who are two friends that are completely opposites of one another, but yet combined are great friends together. And then on top of that, they do good as well as some evil, depending on what you see it.
Yeah. But, and like I said, that's what was kind of confusing me a little bit was because when Crowley finds out, that he could get back into good graces, for lack of a better term, with Hell by turning Gabriel in,
Yeah.
he still participates in the miracle or the half the miracle to hide Gabriel from hell and
Yes.
Aziraphale to hide him from heaven. So I was a little confused there of what we're actually going to see about them. If maybe, I don't know. I don't know what they're thinking.
Their idea is like
collectively.
my thoughts was it was a half miracle on either or, both
Mhm.
good and evil combined, and making
Right.
the best in between. But that's
Yeah.
just my thoughts, everybody, too, because maybe I'm thinking I'm being, in the middle. I'm
Well,
working
yeah.
right in the middle, right there.
Yeah, and they're hiding Gabriel from both, and then what are they going to do with him? Because and John Hamm, this man,
I just love the character of how he's he's just completely oblivious to everything. He thought his name was John or Jim.
Yeah, Jim. Yeah, he's like, Jim sounds like Gabriel. So, some people call me that. Yeah, no, I love, and that whole monologue he did about the hot chocolate was just hilarious. It had me chuckling every time. He's like, oh, it did something here, and then it does something here, and then it's doing something completely different down here. And I'm just like, this John, I mean, he did the Confess Fletch movie that had some comedy in it. Tag had some comedy in it. So we're really seeing that John Hamm has got some good comedy chops here. I think he's it's a good fit for him.
Well, I think it's always been a good fit for him. I think he has been a comedic actor all this time. He just was never allowed to express himself that way so much. So now that Mad Men has been gone, and the shadow of Black Mirror of the episode is gone, he could do whatever the hell he wants. He could be his own person. He could actually create some comedy, which I think he's perfect for too. I think he's a perfect comedic actor. And on top of that, it's kind of a flip-flop of Gabriel, who we know, because a lot of what we get from the character, from what I remember of last season, because he did show up last season.
Oh yeah, he was a big part of last season,
and he was a big bad in the sense of like no, shaking his finger kind of attitude to both Aziraphale as well as Crowley, and now they are cowering in fear and fearing for their lives, going, "Oh my goodness, and then he's a dullard. And they're like, they can do whatever they want with him or mold him into whatever they want for him themselves.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what they're going to do with that and how that plays out the rest of the season. It's only 6 episodes. I didn't remember that it was only 6 episodes the first season even, but so it's going to be interesting. It's going to be short, but kind of it's nice to see that kind of different, how they're going to build back, how he's going to get his memories back, what's got to happen for him to do that. How did he lose it? How did he fall? What happened? Was Michael involved? Was she not involved?
Or was this the powers of the bureaucracy of up in heaven?
Or was it the Almighty? They don't use the word God, they say Almighty. So I'm really intrigued to see where this is going to go with these guys. And like we were talking about before we started recording, it's really setting up the rest of the season for us with them.
And I love the parallel that there is between both Aziraphale and Crowley, but we also get that with the barista Maggie.
Nina's the barista. Maggie is the record shop owner.
Exactly.
That was a great interaction when she walks in there and you remembered you could tell there was like a little, like you could tell that Maggie had a little bit of a thing for her. Because she's like, oh, you remembered my order. And Nina's like, well, I remember all the regulars orders, and then later when she finds out that Nina has a partner, she's like, oh, you have a partner. You can just see how like crestfallen she is at the fact that this is Nina, who she's probably been, watching from afar many times, finally works up the courage to ask for something, finds out she has a partner. But then we find out that her partner is super clingy. Like all those text messages and all the different, like,
they showed up all at once as soon as they got power. And that's as soon as Crowley decides, like, oh, you've been stuck in here? Oh, forget it. Done. And then they bing, 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 bing.
Yeah.
I was like, no.
Yeah, and you can see that there's a lot of like there was questions about respect in there, and so it was interesting. It's going to be interesting to see how that relationship goes, and then how the two. But I love that you talked about the parallel between these two very different people coming together as a maybe not a couple, but at least friends. So let's see how that's going to progress. I'm interested to see how they're going to be in the story.
Yeah, I think that is a key aspect within the season where you have Crowley and Aziraphale, and then you have Nina and Maggie. Mm-hmm. So I think they, at one point, both teams come together, but that's just my feeling of what I'm getting out of this particular first episode, and I really do enjoy it. Both getting to know each other. We see Aziraphale and Crowley in the beginning getting to know each other, and then on top of that, we see Maggie and Nina at that point within getting stuck during that time because, Crowley does this little thing in his temper tantrum, as I say it.
Yeah, and the power goes out and all the doors lock. And
the doctor goes nuts, as I like to say, because it's Doctor Who.
That's right.
Yeah. So, and I'm looking forward to seeing that. And then we get on top of that, Aziraphale and Crowley's issues of dealing with Gabriel himself, trying to figure it out, and the higher ups up, not only in heaven, but also in hell itself, and them both consorting within their own teams, trying to figure it out, how to figure out where he is, what's going on. We also have that a little bit of an issue of he shows up naked with a box, he leaves the box outside. Aziraphale kind of goes, wait, there's a box, and he goes out there, he gets the box, nothing's in it.
The box, the empty box. That was going to be my next thought. My next question is, what, was there something in that box that somebody took out? Are we going to find out later? Is there, or what's the point of the box?
Yeah.
It's, the whole 7 thing. What's in the box?
Or Schrodinger's cat, it's like, right. Is it there?
Yeah. So I'm interested to find out what's going to come out about
or
that,
Pandora's box. Who knows?
Pandora's box. Yeah. What's going to come out about that? Yeah. It was great. And the reactions of the people as when Aziraphale asks him, well, how did you come? Why did you come here? And Gabriel's like, well, like when you don't really know something, but then if you find this person that you'll maybe know something, that's kind of, he's
like it will find the way.
like where did that come from? My brain, and
it's as if he was knocked on the head and he just didn't remember anything.
Yeah.
And that's when, Crowley and Aziraphale are like, okay, well, he doesn't know anything, so we don't have to fear him anymore.
Right. And we need to hide him. We need to hide him because we don't want hell to find him, but we don't want heaven to find him either because we don't know why he's here. Like it's interesting. Like I said, their take on it, their perspective on it is a little different because Crowley knows for sure from his contacts at hell that, they're looking for him. And so they're like, we got to hide him. We got to hide him from both hell and heaven because we don't know who's involved in this or how this happened. And so I love how that's going to play out over the rest of the season, hopefully, and we'll get to see something happen with that. So,
yeah. I look forward to seeing what we get out of this. But honestly, like I said, listeners, this is the first episode. This is our jump into the new season. We waited 4 years, and I still have a poster from when I went to New York Comic-Con, and I think they had a Walking Dead panel that I got there, and that's where I got the it's kind of like a vinyl style poster, and I still have it for season 1. So I still own it, and I'm like, wow, it's been 4 years. It's been that long, and
it's crazy.
Yeah,
lots happened in the last 4 years.
Yeah, lots happened. So right now we're jumping into this. So this is all new to us. And obviously, really not much has happened, even though it's like a 45-minute episode total. But it goes by so fast.
Yeah, I just watched it again the second time today and was surprised at how soon it ended, going, oh, okay. So, and I had to stop it to not go to the next one.
Yeah.
and because it's like, unlike last year, because I think, or last time, not last year, last time, I think it was a week to week show. I don't think they dropped it all at once.
No, yeah, it was a week to week show, but I think when we covered it overall, it was just
I think we just
an
did,
overview of the whole season and what we liked about it. We didn't do it episodically. This one we are doing episodically.
Yeah.
So starting with this was kind of something I threw the image up there on Facebook. I think I threw it up there on Instagram. But regardless, if you have any theories or thoughts, or if you're following us episodically, please send us some stuff later on. And if you want to be on or you have any input, please let us know. That is the one big thing that we like to give away, because we do have a lot of friends who are listeners of other things. Throw them at us. We're going this. I think I feel like I'm a little bit naive about this, but I want to just have fun with this, because this is a show that you could have fun with and learn a little bit something with each episode. And the one thing that I did not take away, which sucks about this because I love music, there was a Queen song in the movie, in the episode.
There was a couple of Queen songs, actually. If you heard in, but go ahead. You're the music guy. No.
I didn't remember them.
The Good Old Lover Boy. That was the one that was playing while Crowley was driving the car. That's a Freddie Mercury song. And then in the coffee shop, in the background, there's like an instrumental. And I read this on the trivia. And then I also, when I watched it the second time, you can barely hear it because it's very low in the background when Aziraphale and Crowley are meeting in the coffee shop. That Bohemian Rhapsody, like an instrumental or orchestral version of Bohemian Rhapsody, is playing over the coffee shop speakers. And so that was a cool little catch. Like I didn't catch it the first time, and I had to actually read about it and then caught it the second time. You can barely hear it. It's very low in the background, but it's there. You can hear it. So yeah, the music is going to be something to keep an eye on here.
Yeah, it is. And I'm one for music, but I wasn't really paying too much attention. So I'm thankful to Steve right now for bringing that up. I knew it was Queen. I knew there was Queen in there. So,
well, we knew we had a couple of Queen songs in the first season as well that were featured pretty prominently. So,
Gaiman is English. So obviously, even though he lives in Rhinebeck, New York, and teaches up at Bard College, but he is a fan of it. I believe the first iteration of Good Omens, that was a trade paperback as well as a book, was written between him and somebody else. This one,
was it Terry Pratchett?
I believe so.
Yeah.
So, and then this particular season was predominantly done by Neil Gaiman himself.
Yeah. So there was they had a weird falling out over not this show, but the other American Gods. There was a thing that Terry Pratchett didn't like his stuff being changed into different mediums or something like that. I read that somewhere. So
that always becomes an issue between writing. But the thing is, right now, Neil Gaiman's in charge of this as well as Sandman. So keep that in mind, and listeners too. Jamie and I will be back for season 2 of Sandman Cast for Podcastica. So, we're doing this now on Panels to Pixels podcast. Maybe Jamie will be on here. Who knows?
Or you can do a dual release like Podcastica does with some of the other shows too. So
we'll see.
That's what the TV podcast industries one is, kind of a Podcastica TV podcast industries.
Yeah, but it's limited to them, so I don't want to step on their toes.
Yeah. No. Never.
But we will give our props to TV podcast industries as well as Podcastica as well.
Yeah.
But we will be continuing to do our coverage on Good Omens season 2. So if we do get more people in, we will. So you might find a pop-up guest. Just have fun. But with that, we'll go into podcast recommendations right now, since we're going towards the end. We kind of wrapped up our overall thoughts, our little likes within the particular episode. It was the first episode, but podcast recommendations, Steve.
Wow, you always come to this, and I should think of this beforehand.
That's okay.
Right now, really the biggest one that I'm contributing to is the revisited podcast with Kristen and Ben. They're rewatching Lost. They're almost done with that. And they have given their announcement. They hit their 100th episode, and they have officially announced that they will be doing a rewatch of Ted Lasso.
Awesome.
When they finish. So that's official. They've released that. So they're I don't know how much of a break they're going to have between. There's about 6 episodes of Lost left. So you're talking, about 6 weeks of Lost that they've got to cover. And then I'm not sure how quickly they'll launch into Ted Lasso. That's going to be a tough one for me to live Steve, because I've watched it so many times, but and recently watched it. So it's but we'll see. I've been trying to stay away from rewatching the first season for a while now, so just so I can get it so it's not totally fresh in my brain. But so the revisited podcast with Ben and Kristen.
Awesome. I would have to also add another one that Ben has done, which is Wilhelm. But him and Kristen have been doing kind of a playoff between of like giving each other homework. One would give a movie, and then the other one would give a movie, and it's kind of a playoff. They did Barbenheimer first, which was a mutual thing with the Podcasting Network, and they did Oppenheimer and Barbie, and I thought it was done very well. Haven't watched Oppenheimer yet. Neither have I watched Barbie.
I went and saw Oppenheimer last week or this week, and on Monday, and it's 3 hours. It's a commitment.
It is a commitment.
Just be aware. Be aware. If you go in there, it's a commitment. It's good. It's really, really good. It's a little. I will give a little bit of a spoilery kind of thing here. If it's hard for you to follow movies that switch back and forth in time periods, it'll be a tough one for that, because it switches from black and white to color, and it switches time periods where it doesn't give you any kind of reference. The only reference you can have is whether it's black and white or color, and then basically the Oppenheimer hairstyle.
Where his hair lays within time. Yeah,
and that's the only way you can really tell that you're in a different time. So it jumps all the way from before the war, like 1938 to 39, to like 1954, 1947, to the 40s when they're developing the bomb. So it jumps back and forth, like I said, without any real reference point for the viewer. So you've got to really kind of pay attention to that.
Yeah.
And I will say, I had no clue the character that Robert Downey Jr. played. No clue at all. They did a really good
history books.
They did a really good makeup job on him, and it wasn't until after the fact when I read that was Robert Downey Jr. that I went, oh, because you can kind of hear it in the voice, but I could not tell at all that was Robert Downey Jr. So he did a wonderful, wonderful job.
Yeah. There's so much to look forward to. Just to throw out a little love for Podcastica, as it is. They have a lot more shows out there. Run for Your Lives with Daphne and Paik. They're continuing on with their Run for Your Lives with doing Insidious 2, which just released. So you can check that out. Wilhelm with obviously with Ben and Kristen, and they're doing their trade-off of movies. I don't know what it's actually called, but they give each other homework, and they have done other movies too. So it's kind of like a dichotomy of like different movies. It's like, oh, here, you watch this movie and you tell me what you think because you've never seen it before. So I think it's a pretty good trade-off. And it's usually, as like Ben had stated, and I listened to one of the episodes, he goes, it's kind of like listening in on a conversation between two people who had watched movies that they never had watched before. And the other person knew a lot more than the other. So I really enjoy that. On top of that, there's the White Lotus that's coming out.
Welcome to the White Lotus is Podcastica's rewatch of the White Lotus. So that's been pretty good with Jason and different co-hosts, Randy and Penny. I want to say. So that's really good. I listened to the first episode of that. I haven't had a chance to send anything to that one.
Yeah.
I don't know if I will or not, but it just depends. So
I haven't really gotten into it. I haven't even started watching White Lotus, but there's so many things out there to listen to. So at least to give a little love out there in the podcast network or podcast world that's out there. So, but with me, well, this is where we kind of move into the aspects of where you can listen to us. So Steve, obviously you can be heard here.
Yeah, and really, like I said, I send voicemails, live Steve, we call them, of my thoughts as I'm watching something that whatever our friends are podcasting on and covering. I did a few Black Mirror episodes for Strange Indeed. That's just sent them a voicemail. So you can hear my voice on various Podcastica podcasts and other ones that are out there if I send something to them. But mainly right here, Panels to Pixels podcast. That's where you're going to hear my voice.
And hopefully when we do Space Camp soon, because we're going to be doing that on Adrenaline Cinema, which I would also like to plug too. I do that as well. It's my other podcast, Adrenaline Cinema Podcast. Basically, the podcast just does anything that's action, adventure, thrilling, fantasy, sci-fi, anything that gets your adrenaline going, thriller, suspense, all that cool stuff. We will be covering Space Camp. I'm going to try to gather at least a good 2 or 3 other people just to do a roundtable to get that out of the way, because I've been talking about it for a while, but I want to get it done. We'll be doing that sometime soon. And most recently, well, we did Big Trouble in Little China, and then I just recently posted The Lost Boys with Rima and myself from Strange Indeed on Podcastica. So
I need to listen to that one.
We had a great time having fun talking about The Lost Boys, and I said something a little bit strange too, because you guys will be listening to it going, wait, Mark, the folklore's already there. As soon as a vampire lets you in his house, you invite them in your house, you render yourself
helpless
at that point. And they are not going to succumb to it. So that's the one thing that both Rima and I forgot completely. So keep that in mind when you listen to it, and please don't judge us. It's pretty funny, but we had a good time doing it, and obviously a lot more down the pike. Jamie and I are looking, I owe it to her too, because we made her watch Big Trouble in Little China and she was not happy with it. But we will be doing like Friday the 13th, a little bit more horror based stuff, a little bit here and there. I already spoke to Damien. Hopefully we could get to do Explorers on Watched It in the 80s and do something like that there on his podcast. He hasn't put anything out in a little bit of while, so I'm hoping that we could do something jointly, or if not, just on his. On top of that, you could hear me on Fantasy Picks Movie Edition, and we covered The Last Jedi, so that was interesting. How could we fix that? Because honestly, I was not a huge fan of it. Neither was Rob, or Frank, or Patrick. So we try to get an idea of how we could fix The Last Jedi in a sense of making it appealing to everybody. So if you could listen to that, that's Fantasy Picks Movie Edition. You could find that on the Pirate Core Entertainment Network as well. So you can hear me at those places. Other podcast recommendations. Steve, you and I actually mentioned Talkville, and they came back.
Yeah, they're back.
They're still around, and they're still continuing their talk.
Yep.
And I do like to promote them as well. So you got Michael Rosenbaum and
Tom Welling
themselves. They're continuing their talk about Smallville. So as podcasters, they could still do it, just like Kevin Smith and Mark Menardin. So that's a pretty cool thing. So as being podcasters, they could even talk about the stuff that they did before, which I think is pretty cool.
Yep.
So, but we mentioned feedback earlier, so we're going to talk about feedback. So with that, you could go to our Facebook group, which would be facebook.com/panels to pixels. I usually leave an image of, the episode. I did that for this particular episode. We didn't get any feedback, but if you would like to do so, I will put out for episode 2 for season 2 of Good Omens. And then that way you could leave your comments in below the image. That way we could actually read them.
We are also on X. It's Twitter, folks. We're on Twitter. I don't know what's going on with X.
We might be leaving it. Who knows?
But who knows? But we are on Twitter at panels 2 pixels. That's at panels, the number 2, and then pixels.
Yep. And you could email us at panels2pixels1@gmail.com. That's panels. The 2 is spelled out TO, pixels, and the number 1@gmail.com. There, and you could just type out a regular texted email and we'll read it. And if you don't feel like actually writing anything out, you have these nifty new devices that's out there called smartphones. You could actually record yourself and just attach it to your email, the voicemail itself. You could just be like, I just recorded this. It's a WAV file, whatever. All right, I'm going to send it to Mark and Steve, and we'll play it. And you could be part of the podcast, and we'll play it, and we'll comment about it, and we'll have fun. And then you could be part of the podcast.
We are also on YouTube, we are on YouTube as Panels 2 Pixels Podcast. So give us a thumbs up there, subscribe. And if you like listening to your podcasts on YouTube, that's where we'll be, Panels 2 Pixels Podcast.
Exactly. And we could be heard on Spotify, Google Play, Apple Podcasts, or whatever podcast player of choice that you use. Obviously, there are ratings and reviews available for those. Spotify, Apple Podcasts have them. I highly recommend if you could give us a review on those, that would be greatly appreciated. Give something written out. That would be great, because I just did that earlier today. I did a lot of the podcast stuff that I saw that was not there before. So I redid a lot of mine and gave them the reviews that I felt. And Jason was really appreciative. And just to give a little bit of love to Jason and Podcastica, if that's how these podcasts came about, when I do Adrenaline Cinema or even Panels to Pixels, I've been doing this for so long. I get my friends. That's how Steve and I know each other, is through Jason's Patreon. So all you have to do is go to patreon.com/Jason Kabasi. And if you want to join in that Zedhead group, which we call it because it was based upon The Walking Dead, you could join that. And it doesn't really take that much. It's only a little bit. So check it out on patreon.com/Jason Kabasi. And you could just join a group of people that love the same stuff. And then you get to interact with us like we always do in general. But yeah, it's a great thing. But
and finally, we are also on Instagram at Panels 2 Pixels Podcast. That's Panels 2 Pixels Podcast, all spelled out there on Instagram. You can leave us a message there as well.
Yeah, I've been promoting that too. I don't know if you noticed that, Steve. I've been
I've seen the posts. Yep.
Yeah, I've been putting a lot more posts now. It's awesome. So, and I do hyperlink the episodes and everything else, and any YouTubes too. So if you guys really want to click on those, you can. So, yeah, well, that was our show. That was fun. And on top of that, we will be here next week. So keep that in mind. So I am Mark.
And I'm Steve.
And same podcast, different panel, different pixel. And this was Panels to Pixels Podcast. And we'll see you on the next panel. Good night, everybody.
Good night.